My name's Abby and I'm going to share a few of my thoughts on Genesis chapter 15. Now this is a really good chapter, so I really recommend that you read it for yourself. It's about God making a covenant with Abram, and it starts off by saying, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward." And you'd think that this would be encouraging, but actually Abram questions it and says, "Lord, what can you give me when I remain childless?" And for him, having an heir is the most important thing. And so being childless means that he can't see how God could bless him. And I think sometimes we can find it hard to see and trust that God has got good things for us when we can't see how they're going to happen, or when they're not happening at the moment. And so God then takes him outside and says, "Look up at the sky. Your descendants are going to be as many as the stars," which is just amazing, because Abram is asking for an heir, and the Lord is saying that his descendants are going to be as many as the stars. And I think it's just like God is saying that I can give you more than you can ever ask for. And then after this it says that Abram believed the Lord, which is great, and you think he's finally got it. But then the Lord goes on to say about having brought him into the land so that he can take possession of it. And again Abram questions this and says, "How can I be sure that this is going to happen? How can I be sure that this is going to take place?" And it's at this point that God makes a covenant with him. And during that time, while Abram's asleep, he tells him exactly how it's going to happen. And I think sometimes we can find it really difficult when we can't see what is going on, or when we can't see how God is working in a particular situation. But I just really encourage you to be honest. God didn't get frustrated, he didn't get annoyed at Abram, he was really patient with him, and then he made this covenant. And a covenant is basically a promise. So God was promising Abram all of the things that he just said. And I think sometimes we don't quite get the idea of a promise, because our views are influenced by our experiences. And so my experience of promises are often promises that are made by people, and people don't always keep their promises. And so I kind of take that idea, and that's how I see the promises of God, and it's just not true. Like, God is always faithful and he keeps his promises. So I think the only way that we can trust that God has got good things for us is by holding on to his promises and knowing that he is faithful and the things that he says are true.